There's a really great list of them. I'm going to put a link in the description below. We actually offer a whole entire timeline for North Texas planting for 75 different fruits, vegetables, herbs, and flowers. The top 75, the things that I love. Hey y'all, welcome back to the greenhouse. I am in our little greenhouse today. I need to seed some more seeds for February, and I wanted to just take y'all along with me so you can kind of see what we're doing here. But really what I wanted to talk about today was what we're seeding and how we're doing it. We're going through soil blocks again. We are doing awesome on everything that we have seeded so far. You can see my little plant stand here. I've already potted up peppers and tomatoes. I've got about 90 tomato plants. I haven't counted peppers, but I think we're probably somewhere in a similar 75-ish head count. And then I've still got some onions I need to get in the ground. And then check out all of these lettuces, kale. Those are ready to get in the ground as well. So this week is pretty busy week if I can keep the sun shining, you know, because we get a lot of say-so in that. But I've got lots of kales and spinach and brassicas that need to get in the ground and make more room in here for some of the warm weather vegetables that aren't ready to go out yet. We actually had a little dip in temperature last night. I think it was about 31, and I had some of my tomato plants in here that are doing incredible. The difference between the LED lights in my grow station, which I still swear by, the difference between the tomatoes that have been hanging out under grow lights versus the tomatoes that have been hanging out in the greenhouse are incredibly different. Let me show you. All right, so these are my tomatoes that have been sitting out in the greenhouse for about 2 weeks. Their stems are looking really awesome and strong. We've been petting them, trying to keep them moving a little bit by opening the door during the day. They look a little droopy this morning because temperatures did get a little chilly last night, so I'm going to have to really keep a close eye on that. But look at the difference between these two flats and this flat here. Y'all, I mean, there is no comparison. All of these were planted at the same time. They were potted up about the same time, but the only difference is these have been under grow lights longer, and they're still fine. There's plenty of time to catch these guys up and get them in the ground. These are some different varieties, but they shouldn't be that far off. But when you look at the comparison between these greenhouse tomato plants and these LED lights, I mean, you guys. So needless to say, I am still sold on germinating plants in our seed starting station with grow lights, especially because this particular building is not heated. I don't have electricity out here, so I can't bring heat mats in here to keep everything warm, especially for these like warm weather vegetables. Our last frost date isn't scheduled until like mid to late March, so we still have about a month left of potential frost. So these tomatoes and peppers will not be going in the ground until after that. They'll be hanging out in here for at least a month, another 4 or 5 weeks before I get them in the ground. However, I've got lots of lettuces and kales that are ready to go in the ground. They will do just fine with some light frost. In fact, they'll thrive in colder environments where they do not like heat. So I need to get those guys in the ground so that we can get them going before our heat gets here, which sounds crazy to say in February, but we're in Texas. So in any case, so what I'm doing today is I am working on seeds that need to be started for the month of February. And if you have ever had trouble knowing when to start what seeds in your area, it is super important for you to find a grower, teacher, coach in your area so that you know when it's appropriate to plant what seeds. We start from seed here at Hillbilly Nutrition, and I love helping other people who want to do the same. Check out the description below. I have a link to our timeline of over 75 different plants, vegetables, fruits, and herbs that will help you know when to plant, how to sow them, when to transplant them for both growing seasons here in North Texas. Here in Texas, we actually have 2 growing seasons, and to be able to utilize almost the entire year to grow food is an incredible thing. So I'm going to put a link in the description for our seed starting timeline. You guys can purchase that. We also have a garden class with tons of videos just like these, where I take you along with me and walk you step by step in starting your own garden. It's never too late. So if that's something you're interested in, check out the link down below for our seed starting timeline for this top 75 plants that we love here, as well as our Sow, Reap, Eat garden class. So if you guys are interested in learning more from me, Hillbilly Nutrition, I'm here to help you. Okay, so back to what we're doing today. We are going to be seeding more of our herbs and some flowers to get them going. We can do a lot of things at this point out in the raised beds or garden beds that you already have prepared, and that is called a direct sow. I go over this in our garden class. I also go over this in the seed starting timeline that I just mentioned. But we can direct sow lots of things this month, and then we can also start from seed and get them under the grow light so that they're ready to go once any potential for frost has left the building. So what are we going to plant today? I brought out my herb little box here. This is in a photo album organizer. I'll link that down below in case anyone is wondering how we organize all these seeds. You could organize these by month. You can organize these by type. It's really up to you. You can color code them. Whoops. So this is my herb box, and I am planning on getting some things started today, like thyme, lemon balm. I've got several different vendors here. One is Wood Prairie Family Farm, which I love. I'll tag them below. Baker Creek, lemon balm, oregano, chives. I've got fennel, and actually I have fennel seeds that we saved from last year, so I've got lots of those. I let that herb actually go to seed so that I could harvest the seeds and use them either in cooking or in the garden. Cilantro, parsley, chamomile, cilantro. You can also do dill right now. One of the things that people get super frustrated with, including myself, is that some of these things don't really do well in our Texas heat, but you want them to do well because you want to use them with your other plants. For instance, dill. You want to make dill pickles. You want fresh dill in your fresh cucumber pickles that you're making, and unfortunately the timing doesn't work out so well here where they're growing at the same time, because as soon as the heat sets in, the cucumbers are ready to take off, but the dill tapers back. So it's kind of a bummer. You could grow a bunch though, and you could dehydrate it and use dried dill as well as dill seed in your pickles and still give you that essence of something that you grew versus having to go buy at the store. I was looking at the price of parsley and I think cilantro the other day, and for a bundle of either one of those, now whether you buy organic or not is up to you, but for a bundle of those, you're looking at anywhere from like 80 cents to $2.30 is what I was kind of seeing, which is insane. One of these packets of parsley or cilantro might cost you, I don't know, $5, and there's a minimum of 100 seeds in here. However, but like dill, parsley and cilantro don't really do so well once it gets to be 100 degrees here. So we really need to think about how much we're going to plant now and then how we can preserve it, whether it's dehydrate it, freeze it, freeze dry it if you have one of those. So it's a good time to get a lot started and a lot going so that you can keep it and have it, and but it just might not be in a fresh form for the duration of the summer. However, because we're in Texas, we have 2 seasons and we can start them again for the fall and maybe get a little bit more bang for our buck. My favorite thing to make with parsley and cilantro is chimichurri, and I could eat it every week, but unfortunately I can't grow parsley and cilantro every week. So one of the things I love to do with lettuce is succession plant, starting some and then a few weeks later, 3-4 weeks later, starting some more. That way they're not all ready at the same time. If I have, what is this, maybe 80 plants of lettuce, I can't possibly eat 80 heads of lettuce all at the same time. So you really kind of want to get them going on on some sort of strategy that allows you to plant some, seed some, plant some, seed some. That way you're not having all of them ready for harvest at the same time. Now, because we have a farm store, this is something I'll offer for our customers. They can buy plant starts for their garden, or they can buy the actual harvested lettuces that we'll have available. So that's something that as a farm store we'll be able to offer our customers, which I'm really excited about. The difference in price from buying a lettuce start at the store, big box store, was like $5.98 for a single head of lettuce, a once and done head of romaine. And granted, some of those might grow back a bit. However, that's $6 for one plant versus buying a head of lettuce in the store for $2 or $3 versus buying a packet of 250 seeds for $5. So you could spend $6 for your plant head of lettuce, $3 for your head of lettuce, or 3 cents per head of lettuce. And to me, that's just a no-brainer. I've got my bin of seed starting mix. I've got my soil blocker, and I'm gonna add some more of my favorite seed starting mix. We get this at our local feed store. It's roughly $6 a bag, which is incredible. It's going. So I'm gonna water this up. We want to wet all this soil so that it holds together in a mold and squeezes out just a little bit, but isn't totally oversaturated. I keep a kitchen spoon for my stir. When I first started gardening, I didn't have a trowel, and I used a butter knife to transplant my plants. All right, so the way I do this is I kind of just give it a little mash and spin. I like to be able to get down to the bottom. It kind of helps me even it out. Basically, you don't want a big lumpy section coming off of the bottom. You want that to be flat so that these blocks sit flat. Once you get those packed in, I set this down. I have 5 soil blocks, perfectly shaped with a little indentation for seed. We're going to do that 10 times and have the potential for 50 plants in this one flat. So here we go. Okay, I've got 3 lunch trays worth of soil blocks. Each of these I have 6 rows of 5, so that's 30, 60, 90, and then 50. So I'm going to plant 140 plants, and I've only been out here for about 25 minutes. So you can see how fast that goes, and you don't have to use this much soil to start a seed unless you want to save time on something like a tomato or pepper that would need potting up later. So I'm going to get my seeds in here, and if I've still got time, I may go start to plant my lettuces and kales in my new bed that I set up last week. So thank you guys for coming. If you need any help with your planting schedule, don't forget in the link in the comments for our 75 different plants and how to plant them, when to plant them, whether you sow indoors, outdoors, when to transplant them for both of our growing seasons here in North Texas. So thank you guys for watching. Give us a like, hit subscribe if you want to see more of our content. I know that's a no-brainer and everybody says it, but it's super important. It helps us out. It helps the algorithm out to know what you like to see and what you've watched, what you like to see on a normal basis. So it helps you, helps me, helps us all. Thanks, you guys.